adhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So last time we talked about the nature of Ishvara, the cause of the universe, right? We are still doing that. And what we saw is that this so-called all knowledge and all power, in Sanskrit we call it Sarvajnaha Sarvashaktiman, being everything. Okay? So now what does everything mean? So we use the word Om, okay, to show what everything means. Okay? So the word Om has, this is Mandukya Upanishad, right? It's based on Mandukya Upanishad, and here it is verse, which one? It is chapter 8, no it's not chapter 8, and verse 13. Okay. So, we said that it has 3 letters, A, U and Ma. Okay? And if you look at the Sandhi rule, when you join A, U and Ma, what you get is O. Okay? Now, what does A represent? Radhika, what does A represent?
I think it's the whole universe, which is the entire universe comes under Earth. It comes down to the individual and to, no, I'm not explaining it yet. Actually, do a better job. Yeah.
I think the physical aspect of things.
Exactly. Right? When you say the whole universe, right, what does it include?
Yeah.
It includes what? The physical universe. Now that physical universe means what? All the physical forms that we see. Okay? Now that itself is subdivided into what?
Your own physical
Me, my physical body, and what? The entire physical world. Okay? So this is what we call the entire Sthula Prapancha. The individual is called what? It is Vishwa, and the entire physical world is called what? Vida. Right? Yeah. So now, how do you appreciate Ishvara as both this physical body as well as the entire physical universe?
That is the nature. With the beats, all the parts of the physical and yourself, everything is different, but Ishvara is a string that goes through everything, which is the common string that puts it all together.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the only visual argument for the universe. Which is, everything in the universe is got Ishvara. It is part of Ishvara, but how is it? The common thread going through is Ishvara. So every form has Ishvara.
Very good. Okay. So that means, now how do you appreciate the fact that in this physical body is Ishvara? How?
It's the force that is in you which makes
That. Can you elaborate on that?
the force.
I mean, what do you mean by the force which is...
Well, there's a force that has created you. So that force is in you that creates you and makes you who you are. And then of course it's your mind. I suppose individual mind, or you don't think it's different, but I think basically it's the force that creates you.
Okay. So that means in your physical body there are billions of cells. Okay. Now all these cells are what? Coordinating
Yeah.
what? To includes a very complex what? Web. Okay? To be able for me right now to be able to speak and hear at the same time, see at the same time what? My respiratory system is working, my digestive system is working, my circulatory system is working. Am I sitting and telling me itself that now you connect with this and then this is what you have to do? I don't even know most of the time what's happening. So what is that intelligence which is constantly coordinated? It's a highly complex coordination and it is done with amazing amount of precision at all given point in time so that you can do these multi-functions. Okay? So that intelligence which makes my body what it is right here. Don't look for it somewhere else. Okay? But that intelligence not only makes my body what it is, it also makes your body what it is. And it makes her body what it is. Okay? So that is what we mean by, and then that's what makes what? This physical sun what it is. Okay? Because sun is nothing but atoms, but who's arranging those atoms in a way that it performs all these very precise functions. Okay? So that means that the whole intelligence is at work at all points in time and is never away from the creation. Okay? So that means if you really need to understand what is Ishvara, it is what? In the entire physical universe. The physical universe includes what? Your physical body and what? All the different forms in the universe which are known to you and unknown to you. Okay?
By physical form you mean the living physical?
No, I mean mountains, for example, rivers, amoeba, everything, the planets, galaxies, black holes, everything, all the physical forms. It means everything. Okay? Then, because there is an intelligence which not only makes, as Radhika said, each form what it is, but each form is not independent of the other. It arranges the forms in a way that what? There is this whole complex web of interdependence and interconnection.
There's no chaos. Like saying the sun
Exactly.
would come into the earth an exact distance away.
Absolutely.
That it gives heat, gives light, but doesn't burn.
Exactly. Right? And
And
the
the order
whole
of
galaxy
the
is moving at a very fast rate. That distance
Yeah.
remains constant
Constant.
for how many years? Billions of years. Right? So this is where we say there is and there is not within that how many laws are operating. Laws of gravity, laws of thermodynamics, laws of all these are not just mechanical laws. They all work in harmony with the other so that that whole life or the whole universe is sustained. Okay? So that intelligence, that means that Ishvara, the whole physical universe, which includes your physical body, is only one aspect of Ishvara, which is up. What is
Subtle.
the subtle?
That
Right?
which the five senses cannot feel, see, touch, smell.
Exactly. So, because we think that the world is only physical, but is the world only physical? There is whole subtle aspect. Okay? So now as Shirin is describing, what does it mean, subtle aspects? You not only have the physical eye, you have what? The capacity of that eye to see. That is subtle. That's why by looking at your physical eye, I have no idea how much you can see or not see. It's only you who know. So with reference to me, it is subtle. Because I can see your physical eye, it is tangible to me, but your capacity is not tangible to me. So that's why we call it subtle. Okay? So it not only makes my sense organs what they are, the subtle also includes what? Mind. Right? Because what you are thinking, I can infer from the way you look, but can I actually perceive what you are thinking? Unless you verbalize it, I don't know what you are thinking. Right? So this is what we call subtle universe. Now, Ishvara makes what? Who designs the eye in a way that not only all these different things, right, but it has to give a sight. And within this so-called sight, human range of sight is what? It follows a certain range. It doesn't go beyond that range, right? But within that range, how many variations? Infinite variations. Because each sight, even though it operates within a certain range, each one is unique. Okay? But not only each one is unique, each one is born with its own program, but within one's lifetime, does that sight remain constant? No. So that means not only you have a unique sight which is different from every other human being, but that itself keeps on undergoing change. Okay? This is why after 42 years, what happens? You start wearing glasses. Now is it that from 41 year to 42 year there was a change? No. There are small changes constantly, which then culminates into a very visible change. Okay? So this design is not ordinary. Okay? So this is where, and then an eye of a bird, it's a different range altogether. It does different. It sees, in fact, if there is human being who's looking at the world, right? And there is another eye which is picking up a different frequency, you will see the objects totally differently. Totally differently. Right? So this is what we say, that subtle, which makes everybody's sense organs what they are, everybody's mind what it is, all the different capacities, all the different ranges, all the different uniqueness, that intelligence is pervading all the time. Okay, so that is represented by U. The me, the individual, that U is called what? Tejasa, and the total subtle is what? Hiranyaka.
Oh, that was the only one I knew first.
Then you have Ma. This Ma is, when you say everything in the universe, does it mean only physical and subtle? What else is remaining? Causal. Right? What is causal?
The law of karma could be one of the aspects of cause.
Exactly. The causal can be understood as something which is, you're right, the laws is true. But if you look at the so-called subtle and physical universe, the reality is it's constantly changing. You think it is all stable, but it is constantly changing. Okay? Constantly changing. If you go to a minute level, then what? There is a constant what? From manifestation to unmanifestation. Every level. The cell which is manifest now, next minute it can become unmanifest. A cell which is unmanifest now can become what? Manifest. Either 2 days from now, or 5 days from now, or 10 days from now. Right? So that means what connects, that link between what has to be manifest at what time, what has to become unmanifest, and within that constant change, there is a seeming stability.
And different range person.
But then what is it? Ishvara is the intelligence of living.
Everything arranges, exactly. That means it includes the physical bodies and the entire physical universe. Om stands for Ishvara. It includes one subtle body and the entire subtle universe, and one causal and the entire causal. Because otherwise, if you say Ishvara is only the physical and subtle, what will happen is, right now, what is there as physical and subtle was not there 5 years ago, or 100 years ago, or 1 billion ago, 1 billion years ago. So that means that is not a part of Ishvara. And what is there now will not remain in the future. So that is not Ishvara. So in Ishvara has to include everything. What is in the past and it is gone, and what will come in the future, right, which has not yet come into manifestation, is also Ishvara. Okay? That's only when, otherwise in fact by the time you finish saying physical and subtle at a quantum level, already that physical and subtle has changed, it's already gone. By the time you finish the sentence, it's gone. At a quantum level, it's already changed. Okay? So that's why you say that intelligence which manifests as all physical forms, which gives all the subtle programming to those physical forms and connects what? All the present with the past and the future. Okay? This is what both individually and what we call Vyashti and Samashti. Vyashti is the individual and Samashti is what? The total. So that whole thing is nothing but Ishvara. That means anywhere you go, you will ultimately come to what? The intelligence. The time and space in which all these different objects exist, it themselves are what? Relative, they are concepts. What makes the so-called illusion of time such a reality? There is this intelligence. Okay? This Einstein's theory of relativity is something which is amazing because it actually supports something that we have been thinking about all along. Vedic concept of time has been relative. Okay? It's just a manifestation of Ishvara. There is no real time. Whereas the whole Newtonian physics was based on time and space being absolute, within which everything else is relative. Okay? Whereas here we say the time and space itself is a manifestation. Okay? And that there is an intelligence which makes time and space framework, and within which what? Every object, and then what? Through series of laws, all these objects interact with each other, which produce outcomes. So follow what laws? Every law is a manifestation of Ishvara. But when we study the laws, the intelligence which makes each planet what it is, we give it a name called physics. When we study the intelligence as it is manifested in trees, we call it what? Botany. When we study the intelligence which makes human body what it is, we call it physiology or anatomy. When we study human mind and how it feels when it goes through certain circumstances, we call it what? Psychology. When we study how a human mind is able to learn things, we call it what? Epistemology. All these are manifestation of Ishvara. Okay? So Om is a very good way of understanding when we say all intelligence and all power, what are we talking about? We are talking about that intelligence which makes each of these what it is. It includes everything. If you don't include the whole thing, you have a partial understanding of what you think Ishvara is. It's not what Ishvara is really.
There are so many laws you have to discover.
Exactly.
Which will come into play in the future.
And they are still coming into play to
But,
make things what they are.
But as an example, light was not there right from
Yeah.
start.
Yeah.
Sound, telephone, telecom, we discovered it as.
As you were. Yeah.
These are all working along certain laws now. But we discovered that law at that time.
There
The
was
way Wi-Fi is
so
working.
much more we do.
Yeah, we don't know. What do we do? We don't know anything else.
And but they still exist and they still govern the universe. This is what we say
exactly.
Ishvara.
It's all there.
It's all there.
We don't know. We have to
Exactly.
discover it. Yeah.
So that means we don't create knowledge, we only what?
Discover.
Capture it.
We just remove our ignorance. Right? Before Newton discovered laws of gravity, the gravity what? The apple was already
Still there.
falling. It's not that already the gravitational forces were working very well. That knowledge with which you can predict how fast it will fall depending upon the mass and the speed. It was all there. Okay? So that means that intelligence is what we call Ishvara. So if you think Ishvara is one entity which is away from the universe and sitting somewhere and governing you, that is a wrong concept. As long as you keep that wrong concept, what? You will always have questions. Okay? You will always feel that how come this person who knows everything, who has all knowledge and has all power, and I'm wanting things to be different and I'm praying and he or she doesn't give me that. There's always this question. But if you understand that all that is here is Ishvara, right? It is making each form manifest as it is and governs the interaction of all forms through series of laws. It follows the laws, cause and effect relationship. And what is the time frame of this cause and effect relationship? Along with creation are the laws. The laws don't start 10 years or 15 years, right? It's all. Now, is this the final reality about Ishvara? No. Very good. Radhika knows it all.
You said now you're going to tell us I'm waiting. I'm still waiting. She said there's an answer for that also.
Answer that is coming.
It's coming now?
Yeah, the next verse.
Okay.
So,
Should we
okay, so the next verse is chapter 9, verse 4 and 5. Okay. So here it says, Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadam vyaktamurtina masthani sarvabhutani nataham sveshvamastitaha Rachamastani bhutani pashyame yogamaishwaram bhutabhirna cha bhutastaha mamatma bhuta bhavanaha. You repeat after me, you chant after me. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadam vyaktamurtina Masthani sarvabhutani Nachaham tveshvamastitaha Nachamasthani bhutani Pashyame yogamaishwaram Bhutabrahma cha bhutastaha Mamatma bhuta bhavanaha. Not easy to pronounce.
No. You don't want to say
Sorry. And Neeru is good. She has a nice voice. She will have a very nice voice. Today she was loud, not loud enough. Generally she is.
I don't even know what to say. I don't have anything to follow.
So here,
I was just remembering what she said and trying to follow it.
Okay. Now, one of the biggest problems that happens is following, right? If all that is here is Ishvara, okay, so before what? I thought what? It was my suffering. Now it is whose suffering? It is Ishvara's suffering, right? Because if all that is here is Ishvara, then what happens? Ishvara is not only suffering my problems, but is suffering everybody's problem. So that means what? There is this whole Ishvara is loaded with all the problems. Right? This is a problem. You can't think of it like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because when you say that all that is here is Ishvara, that means in this world, how many good things and how many bad things? I mean, so-called disorder, how many things? So many things, because there are wars, there are killings, there is violence, there is so many things that are going on. Right? So all that becomes what? Ishvara's problem. Right? You can't afford to have that. Right? So, what is the way out? He is explaining one really important fact. Okay? The important fact is you go back and you examine the relationship between Satyam and Mithya. Okay? What is the relationship between Satyam and Mithya? The dependent reality entirely depends upon what? That which is that which is sustaining it, but the independent reality pervading the dependent reality is free from it. How do I understand that? Simple example. You take the table and wood. Okay? Before the table came into being, the wood, did it depend upon table for its existence? No. Once the table came into being, the table has what? Dimensions. It has height, it has width, it has what? Shape. All of that does wood at any given point in time take on intrinsically the dimensions of the table? No. Because if it intrinsically took on the dimensions of the table, even after the table was destroyed, it would be stuck with what? The height of the table, the shape of the table, it would be stuck with what? The width of the table, but it is not stuck with anything. So that means while pervading the table, it is free from the attributes of table. Please understand that. This is the trick. Ishvara. Right? Now, let us look a little bit more. Okay? So that means, now, let us look at the relationship between feelings that I have and neurons because of which I get the feelings that I have. I have a feeling and I feel that today I am very happy. Okay. Now, are the neurons happy? No.
They're simply conveying.
Sorry?
They're simply conveying.
Exactly. Right? So that means when neurons arrange themselves in a way, it gives me the feeling of happiness. So the feeling is there. Without neurons, I cannot have the feeling of happiness or any other feeling. Okay? But itself, does it take on the attributes of whatever I am feeling?
No, tomorrow will be unhappy.
Exactly. And the neurons are still there.
Neuron.
Right? It will give you different feelings. It
Even
will keep giving you different
different
feelings.
feelings.
Itself is what? Any of those feelings? Free from it. Right? So that means whenever there is Satya-Mithya relationship, Mithya cannot exist without Satyam at every level. Okay? But Satyam is free from attributes of Mithya. If this is the relationship, then this all intelligence, even the neurons don't have something called happiness or sadness, then what to talk of the intelligence which makes the neurons what they are. Does it have sadness? No. So that means Ishvara, making everything possible, is always free from the attributes that the objects enjoy. You understand that?
Yeah.
Okay? So pervading everything, it is free from everything. This is what makes Ishvara what? It pervades everything and still it is free. This is what he is saying, that Maya tatam idam sarvam. I pervade everything, jagat avyakta murtina. Okay? I remain everything, but at the same time, you don't see the intelligence. What do you see? You only see the forms. You don't see the intelligence which is making every form what it is. Okay? And here he is saying, Matsthani sarvabhutani. Every form and every law depends upon that intelligence. But the intelligence, does it depend upon the forms? No. I am independent of that. Because I am independent of them, what is the relationship? Satyam and Mithya. The forms cannot exist without the presence of intelligence, but the intelligence is never affected by the attributes of those forms. Okay? So, nachamasthani bhutani pashyame yoga vaishwaram bhuta brundacha bhutastaha mamatma bhuta bhavana. Okay? So that means I am already free from every attribute that exists in the universe. This all knowledge and all power is pervading everything and at the same time free from all the attributes. This is what makes it much more than what? Any forms. Much more than any forms, because forms keep changing.
But simply said, we're only saying that's the law and not the effect.
No, because the
Ishvara is the cause and the objects are the effect.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. Ishvara is the cause and the objects including time and space is an effect.
Yeah.
Right? So that means whatever, and what is the relationship between cause and effect? One is Satyam and the other one is Mithya.
Sure.
And if the relationship is that of Satyam and Mithya, Mithya cannot make any difference to Satyam.
Yeah.
Right? But Satyam exists independent of Mithya, but Mithya
creates Mithya.
Okay, exactly. Exactly. And it is never affected by whatever is happening at the level of Mithya. Perfect. Okay. And that, as I told you, it's verifiable at each level. Otherwise, it is only a belief that, oh, Ishvara pervading everything, it doesn't get affected. If I just tell you that, then you just have to believe in it. But if I show you that this is how the relationship is between every Satyam and Mithya at every level, there is no argument. Right? Now, is that then all knowledge and all power, the ultimate reality, which is not affected by anything, is that the ultimate reality of this Ishvara? Even that it is not. Okay? Now, what is, in fact, I think Shimul, when I just started talking about Ishvara, she said, no, but this cannot be the end that Vedanta is talking about. So now, what is Vedanta ultimately talking about is now. Okay? Now, you have this entity called Ishvara, and what does it include? Everything, physical, subtle, causal, of one individual, of everything, okay? Itself pervading everything, is never affected by anything, within which all the possibilities exist. Now, what is your relationship with this Ishvara? You have to ask this question. you, where do you put your I? In this whole, if all that is here is Ishvara, where are you?
The creation of.
Okay, generally we think that I am one of the creation of Ishvara, right? But what Vedanta says is not that you are one of the creations of Ishvara, it equates you with Ishvara. That's different. How is that possible? Ishvara is from where the time, space, objects, physical, subtle, causal, everything comes. How can I be related to this Ishvara? Okay? So therefore, if I were to understand what is the nature of equation, we say the nature of equation is Tat Tvam Asi. Tat represents Ishvara, Tvam is you, and it is not that when you do these practices you will become Ishvara. There is present tense. Asi. Asi means you are. It's an already accomplished fact. How is it possible? As long as you think that you are the physical body, what do you think? As Shimul says, you feel that you are what? Created by Ishvara. Sure. As long as you think that I am as good as the subtle body, then you are what? One of the manifestation of Ishvara. As long as you think that you are what? Several causes which will bring about many different physical forms, you are what? Just one little manifestation of this entire entity which is so much bigger than you. Okay? So now you have to examine, are you the physical body? If you put your I in physical body, then you will be what? Just one little small manifestation of Ishvara. True. But is that what I am? The physical body, is it I or it is not I? What did we see?
It's also, you can break it up in the same way like you did the table.
Exactly. So that means you know very well that one cell is not I. When 600 billion cells or something, some crazy numbers, right, come together, you add one non-I 60 billion times, does it become I? Logically, no, not possible. Right? So that means as long as you think I'm the physical body, you are what? One little tiny dot in this entire Ishvara. But if you are not the physical body, right? Now you have to ask, are you then the subtle body? No. Why not?
You are limiting yourself to do activities.
Yeah.
And it's not self-evident. I mean,
Wow.
you need, the only thing that is not self-evident is what is not tangible.
Very good.
But that means, I'm just asking very offline question, that means I have chosen to take this shape then, for whatever reason.
The laws give me
Give you so
laws
that-
of
yeah.
cause and effect.
So that comes into being you, or being a poor person, or being a disabled person, or being that. And
The
you
laws of
take that
cause and
shape
They take that
as
shape, that
Ishvara.
form. Correct.
So you do your self-creation.
Yeah,
I-
through the
I-
laws.
yeah,
You don't,
yeah, through the law,
through the
I-
laws.
yeah.
The intervening law is very important
Yeah,
because
it
you
is.
don't sit and
Yeah.
then say, okay, now
No.
this is what, you know.
No.
So,
But then what are the laws that govern, that make you who you are? If that's what you're saying,
Yeah.
the laws that make you who you are, then what are, how do you explain that?
okay, those laws, as I said, the physical laws, the biological laws, the anatomical laws, there are a series of laws. They all work what? In conjunction with each other. And there are two critical laws that we talked about with reference to our being, law of dharma and law of karma. Right? That is, gives each one the birth that the one has. right? The physical body, the subtle body, and Now, even there, we actually divide the universe as, in black and white. Somebody is privileged and somebody is not privileged. But actually there is no such thing called somebody is totally privileged in every area and somebody is totally not privileged in every area. It's not generally like that. It's full of nuances. Okay? Somebody can be highly privileged in terms of what? Money. But not having very good human relations. Right? Or somebody can be very intelligent and not very well off. So that means the so-called privileges also manifest in so many different combinations and permutations. Okay? And even the privileged person goes through what? One's own pains and pleasures. And the simplest of the simple also go through their own pleasures and pains. Every human being goes through one's own fair share of pleasure and pain. Nobody can avoid it. Right? And so that means this all follows a law of cause and effect.
So why am I not the subtle body?
Okay, how are you not the subtle body is the question. Okay. Why are you not the subtle body? So what is this subtle body? What does it constitute? Okay, it constitutes the mind, mostly. Right? That is where my identification is. What is mind? We saw already. What is the mind?
The mind thinks, the mind...
Right. Mind is nothing but series of thoughts. Right? Now, who are you? Are you the thoughts or are you the observer of thoughts? You are the observer. Because if you were the thoughts, every thought that you have thought of will be sticking to you. If that's your intrinsic nature, then what would happen? Everything that you have thought of will be all stuck to you. You can't get rid of it. The very fact that right now, when you're listening to me, none of the thoughts that you have thought of are sticking to you. It shows that you are already free from those. Okay? So therefore, this subtle body is constantly changing. While it is alive, then what happens? Constantly there are changes. Both at the level of your mind, your senses, their capacity, at every time, your prana, everything is in a constant flux. Okay. And who are you? You are the observer of all the different changes which are taking place. So therefore, you are not the subtle. Okay. Now, if you look at subtle body from a Vedic standpoint, the subtle body itself is also made up of 5 elements. Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha and Prithvi. Okay? So 5 elements are not you, but the 5 elements when they are intelligently put together to perform a given function still doesn't become I. Okay? Now all these, when we are talking about energy, increasing capacities, powers, what are we working at? Please tell me, what are we working at? All at the subtle level. We are trying to increase the capacity of our subtle body. This is where we say we are, what Vedanta says is something far more fundamental than all these practices that we have. Because all the other practices are meant for what? Enhancing your subtle body's capacities. You have a little bit more power, you have a little bit more, mind can predict a little bit more, it can access some more information. This is all subtle. And because it is subtle, it is limited. You can have little bit more than the range, but still it is highly limited. The person who claims to have power, can he change the whole universe according to his fancies? Nobody can do it. Otherwise everybody will stop all the wars, all the violence, everything as you want. The whole world will behave like that. Nobody can do it. The person can only intervene slightly more than the normal range, and we get all very fascinated by it. Okay. what we are talking is actually, no matter if you increase the capacity, whatever extent, it's still very limited. And that's what you're not, because it's variable. And itself, the person who claims to have powers also what goes one day and loses one's subtle mind, with which one demonstrates one's powers. Okay. The subtle you are not. Then what about causal? Are you the causal? No. Why? Everybody knows all the answers, right? That's true.
The laws. We are not the
Yeah,
laws.
you're not the laws. Wonderful. You're not the laws, and you're not what? Because you, with reference to samashti, causal means all the laws. True. With reference to you, the individual, what is the causal? The causes which will give you what? Future bodies. Right? What are those causes?
Karma and dharma.
Karma and dharma. Right? Every action that you perform is what? Using your free will, and it has consequences. Seen consequences and unseen consequences. The seen consequences is the feedback that is given to you at that moment in time when you perform an action. If you've done something good, you feel what? Satisfied, content, feeling good about yourself. All that is an immediate feedback from the universe, Ishvara, to you, showing you nature of your action. If you have hurt somebody, okay, or if you have caused some form of pain somewhere or some form of discomfort to somebody, immediately how do you feel? Uncomfortable. Okay, so that is what we call the seen result of an action. Okay, but the story doesn't end there. There is an unseen result which is carried forward, which will what? The minute you say unseen by you means what? You don't know when it is going to give you result in what form. But what carries it forward? The laws of cause and effect. Now, the laws of cause and effect, when we talk about, is it something which is like some blind faith or anything? The whole universe, when you say there is a law of action and what? Reaction, but equal and opposite. What it is talking about, in fact, the laws of karma. It is not just physical, it is also, it captures laws of karma too. Actions and then the result. Otherwise, why everybody is experiencing world differently? What makes you have your body, your mind, your parentage, your whatever, whatever circumstances with which you are born, which is different from mine? What decides it? Which law decides it? So this is where we say, in addition to all the physical and genetics and biology and all, there are what we add two more laws. Laws of karma and laws of karma. Okay? So that means when I am talking about my future, let's say one's future bodies that are going to come, what are they going to follow? It is going to take into account the unseen result of my actions. Right? So unseen result of my actions will give rise to a specific body for me, which is different from your body. Right? Now, are you that causes which will give rise to different bodies, physical and subtle bodies? No. Why? This is true. What you are saying is right. Why? Right. Who are you? Are you the karma, or you are the one who performs the karma?
Perform.
Yeah, before karma is performed, are you there or not? Yes. While the karma is being performed, you are there. Once the karma is over, you are there or not? Yes. So that means you are independent of karma. You are. Right? Now, what is the result? Result is that of karma. If you are not karma in the first place, how can you be the result of that karma?
Because you're not the law, you're the result of what?
You are even not the result. You are not the result. The karma has result, but who are you? Karma has result. But you perform karma, it shows that what? You are there before the karma is performed. You are there after karma is performed. You are not karma.
The result is a particular shape.
Exactly.
You will be there before and after.
Absolutely. Right? And result is a particular shape, and that shape is in in connection to
With
the
the
action,
action.
which also is a shape.
Yeah.
Who are you? You are independent.
Independent of
of that.
So what do you mean by shape?
Shape means one characteristic.
one character.
Yeah. I mean, she's using the word shape, so I'm going along with her.
What-
But it means that
what
it is
would
one
you do?
characteristic,
One
one attribute.
One attribute.
One attribute. Okay? So, if you are not the physical, the subtle, and the causal, then who are you? Can you say that you don't exist? Because in fact, everything that you thought of about yourself was what? Either in relationship to the physical body, or in relation to the subtle body, or in relation to the causal. Right? When we use the words like soul and all, we are talking about, this one person keeps on taking different forms. In fact, our entire identity is with reference to physical, subtle, and causal. And now, what Vedanta shows is you are none of them.
So you're not Ishvara.
So that means, very good. So that means Ishvara includes the physical body, which is my physical body, and all the physical universe, my little mind, and the entire subtle universe, my little causes which will give rise to all the different physical and subtle bodies in the future, okay? And all the different causes of everyone which will give rise to different bodies in the future. I have been living life thinking that I am only this. Now what Vedanta says, this is all Ishvara. Now if all this there is Ishvara, then you still need to find out where are you then. And if you are not any of this, can you then say that you don't exist? Can you say you don't exist? No. You can't say. You can't say you don't exist. So you still are there. Then the next question is, who are you? Okay. So this is where Vedanta says you are what? Sat, Chit, Ananda. We saw that. Okay? Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahman. Okay? What is, you are none of this, but can you say then you don't exist? You can't say that. That means Sat is you exist. How do you know that you exist?
Self-evident.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Right? The entire universe, you know it exists because what? You perceive it. If I ask you, is this a cup or not? You have to use your eyes to see whether this is a cup or not. But if I say, are you there or not? Do you need to use your eyes and objectify something to say I am? No. For knowing everything, you need to use your sense organs, which will report data to your mind. You process it and you decide what it is and what is the nature of it. You have never observed, right, with your eyes or your ears or your nose or anything, and you still say, I am. So that means there is only one existence in the universe which is given to you as what Radhika says is self-evident. What does self-evident mean? It means you don't need to use your senses. It is evident to you without using your senses. For everything else, you have to use your senses. Right? So that is meant by the word Sat. Okay? It exists and it is self-evident. It doesn't need any other proof. It is self-revealing, self-existent and self-evident. Okay? Now, what is the nature of that existence? So this is where the second word comes. What is the second word? It is Chit. What is Chit? The Chit in Sanskrit, if you want to look for the word which is synonym, you say Jnana. Jnana is either in English you use the word awareness or consciousness. Okay? Now, what is this awareness? Okay. When you say that I am the one who comes to know different conditions of the body, then what is it? There is this awareness which comes to know varying conditions of the body. Okay? When you say that I am not the mind, okay, but I am the observer of whatever is going on in my mind, what are we talking about? The awareness of consciousness, because of which I see coming and going of every thought, which is very good. Okay? So that means you are awareness which is observing changing conditions of the body and changing conditions of the mind. Now this awareness is already free. Anytime there is a relationship between observer and observed, right? Whatever is observed, the observer does not take on the characteristic of what is observed. If I am watching the table, I don't take on the characteristic of the table. If I am watching the changing conditions of the physical body, I don't take on the attributes of the body. If I am seeing the changing thoughts in my mind, I never take on any attributes of the thoughts. Okay? So this awareness is already free from the attributes of physical body, subtle body and causal body. Right? This awareness is already free. Now, you need to ask, if you are awareness, if I am awareness, if she is awareness, and if she is awareness, how many awarenesses are there? How many? One. Perfect. Smita is puzzled. No. Smita thinks not. Smita thinks what? As many body as there are that many awarenesses.
Who hasn't seen the pot?
I wouldn't say that.
She hasn't seen the pot. Okay, so now we have to show her pot, right? So now, first we need to show the logic and then we support the logic with example, right? What is the logic? Now Smita says that there are as many bodies there are that many pockets of awareness, and Radhika says no, there is only one awareness, and Radhika gives a right answer. But Radhika, why? There is only one awareness.
Because it's attributeless. There's no attribute to the
That
other.
is the right answer. What Radhika is saying is, once I say that my awareness is free from the physical body, the conditions of the physical body and conditions of the subtle body, and what all the accumulated karma which are in my account, right? What attribute will I give to my awareness which will distinguish it from your awareness? In order to say there are two different awarenesses, you have to say my awareness is like this and your awareness is like that. That's why we have two awarenesses. But all the different attributes belong to where? Right? The attributes, different attributes we are not denying, but they belong to bodies, minds, and the karmas. But they don't belong to awareness. This is what she is saying. The awareness does not have any attribute. Okay? If it is attributeless, you don't have many awarenesses. You have only one. Okay? But this one, as though, appears as many. As though appears is as many body there are that many awarenesses. How? So in order to do that, we'll give the example, our famous example of a pot. Okay? Now, I think you've seen this example, right? Here, it seems as though there is this cup space, there is this glass space, there is that glass space, there are all as many glasses are there are that many spaces. What is the reality? There is only one space. Okay? One attribute-less space. It pervades everything. It pervades every glass. Does it take on the attribute of the glass? No. In the glass, there are different drinks. Does the space take on the attributes of anything which is inside the glass? No. Right? Physical bodies are many. Minds, or the subtle bodies are many. The causal bodies are many. True. Right? But awareness, which pervades everything, is one. Okay? And that is undivided whole, but seems to be divided by what? Different bodies and mind. Just like space seems to be divided by the glass. Okay? So now, if you really inquire about the nature of I, what do you come to? You are Satyam, existent. You are awareness or consciousness, which is Ananta. Ananta means it is limitless. It has no boundaries. It seems to be confined, but it is not confined. It is attributeless, as Radhika says. It never, pervading everything, it never takes on the attribute that it pervades. Okay? Now, so that means this whole equation, Tat Tvam Asi, you did this inquiry into Tvam, Tvam is you, and you took out physical, subtle and causal body as the real meaning of Tvam, I. What did you come to? Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. Right? Yeah? That is the real meaning of Tvam, that Vedas or Gita want you to see. Now when you looked at the other side of the equation, which is Ishvara, what did you come to? All knowledge and all power, which pervades everything, which what? Makes the physical body what it is, which makes the subtle body what it is, which makes the causal body of not only mine, but everyone what it is. Okay? Now, in order to complete the whole vision of Vedanta, you need to ask one more question. What is the relationship between this awareness, which is limitless, and Ishvara, which is all knowledge and all power?
I told you the same.
Excellent. This is true answer. Why?
Because
there is a kind of one thing, but not quite one thing.
Yeah.
So you have to answer a little bit more precisely.
Because all knowledge and all power being is there, is limitless, and you're saying there are three parts. There's all knowledge, limitlessness, and there is awareness. which is what you're saying is separate to all knowledge and all power and all. That's what you're saying. Ishvara would be awareness, and all Ishvara would, and then you have all knowledge and all power on the other side. So you're saying that why? What is this? Because
see, we are looking at the whole equation is Tat.
yeah,
Tat is Ishvara is equal to you, right? Now he said, when I came to you,
yeah,
I eliminated what? The physical body, the causal body and subtle body, and I came to the real meaning of I, which is what?
Awareness.
Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam.
Yeah.
Awareness, which is existence, which is limitless. Right? That is now my whole understanding of Tvampada is
yeah,
over.
yeah.
Okay? Now I look into Tatpada. Tatpada is Ishvara. Okay? And what did I find? Ishvara is what? All knowledge and all power, which manifests in what? The entire physical universe, entire subtle universe, and entire causal universe. Right? So now I need to ask, what is
How
the
am I
relationship? Exactly.
How am I-
What is the relationship between all knowledge and all power and the other side of the equation, which is what? Awareness.
Yeah. I think you have to be aware that you are that. That again, that must be self-evident, that you have that power and that knowledge. It's again all curtains drawn, you don't know. And you have to be at an intrinsic level, you realize that it has to be you who is creating that. Creating as in manifesting those things. I don't know how to put it.
You don't know how to put it, but you're right.
I don't understand it fully also.
I
I
don't
don't fully understand.
Yeah. You don't,
Yeah.
but you're very close. You're very close, but you're not exactly articulating it exactly.
No, I
as
don't
it
know how
is.
to.
Yeah.
Because I don't understand it properly.
Yeah.
You won't understand it more. No?
No.
You would have.
Okay.
You won't ask me, you don't know.
Okay.
No. That's why she's not asking me.
Doesn't mean you
After
know.
so many years, she says something.
No. Of course not. Neeru, I kind of feel that she already
No,
exactly.
no.
So no, Neeru, come
Tell
on,
us.
you try. Yeah.
I'll try.
Yeah,
I'm
she
not
knows,
sure.
she knows,
No, I
yeah.
don't know. I really don't know. But is it Maya Shakti?
Yeah, but can you explain? Because you need to explain to them.
So you have all knowledge and all power, and you have Satyam,
Okay.
Chittam,
Yeah.
Brahma. So all where we said we are not any of those. So to equate the two, I mean I'm putting it in mind.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, put it in
To
your.
equate the two, you have to actually come to a common ground to manifestation, that force which will create the forms from all knowledge and all power, which is Maya Shakti.
No, what you are saying is right. You say what you have to say, then I will put
No,
it.
that's all.
No, but how are you that?
Awareness
You're
is
saying
form.
that.
Yeah.
How do I become that? That is all knowledge, all power. I am awareness. How am I that?
Yeah.
I understand it level, I don't understand it properly. How it is.
The way she says it, I know.
This is the problem.
Yeah, I don't know also the question only.
Yeah, I have to admit, and I'm a little lost on this
Yes.
equation.
Okay.
Is this something you all have been doing in the last
No, no,
two
no.
turns? No.
Okay. The whole teaching is you are, right, Ishvara. How do you so that Tattvamasi? And if you ask what is Veda, because here what he is talking about, ultimately Ishvara's nature is what? What did we see up to now? We saw that Ishvara is what? Om, which is what? And all three, but itself is not just those three, it is all knowledge and all power, which manifests as all three. Physical, subtle and causal. We saw that, right? Now we are asking, is that the ultimate reality about Ishvara? That's what's the question. Okay? So I said, in order to understand the even more fundamental reality of Ishvara, you need to ask one more question. What is your relationship with Ishvara? That's what we started. right?
Yeah.
Then it seems to us that I am just what? One little manifestation of this vast Ishvara which is everything. So this is where we say, if you put your I in the physical body, this is what you will conclude. Right? That you are just one little physical body and Ishvara is what? The entire physical universe within which your little physical body is. Okay? But what
Is Ishvara the entire universe? Ishvara is that which manifests the entire universe. It's the intelligence, right?
It's the intelligence, but it is pervading everywhere. Where do you find that intelligence? You find it in the physical body, you find it in the neurons, which makes the mind work, you find it what? Which carries forward the present to the past. So it manifests, it not only makes everything what it is, but it pervades everything. We saw that, right?
Yeah, so it is
All
the
intelligence, all power.
intelligence. It is not the effect.
It's the intelligence which manifests as all these different forms.
Even the physical and even the subtle.
Even the subtle, right?
Even the cause.
So don't think that there are two things, because the effect is not separate from the cause. The relationship between cause and effect is that of Satyam and Mithya. So the cause would pervades the effect, but it is independent of the effect. But the effect is not independent of the cause. Right? So there are no two separate things, cause and effect. The effect depends upon cause for its existence, and cause pervading the effect is independent of the effect. Right? So
Okay.
that means if Ishvara is all knowledge and all power, it pervades the entire creation. All the physical forms, all the subtle forms, all the causal forms, it pervades everything.
Okay.
Right? But itself is never affected by all the effects which are all the forms. Right?
Yeah.
So this is where you come to know that all that is here is that all knowledge and all power, which then manifests in form of physical, subtle and causal universe. Right? Now, what we then ask is, what is your relationship with this all knowledge and all power? This is where we say, if you think you are the physical body, then what is your relationship with Ishvara? Ishvara is what? All knowledge, which is all physical forms. And you are only one little physical form. So you are only what? One tiny little manifestation of Ishvara. But what did we see? The physical body is not what I am. Right? We also saw that the subtle body is not what I am, because it's changing. We also saw that the causal body is not what I am. Then what did we come to as I?
Awareness.
Awareness, which is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. Okay? So that means, now if I am Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahman, and all that is here is Ishvara, which is all knowledge and all power, you need to find out what is the relationship between Ishvara and I to complete the whole inquiry. Otherwise it's not complete. Right? So, Radhika, do you understand my question?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you have an answer?
No, I'm just trying to ponder it.
Okay. She's trying to ponder. Radhika gave a right answer, but she didn't give a very clear reasoning. Generally, she gives a very clear reasoning, but this time she was not. Okay. Now, if you want to understand the relationship between awareness and all knowledge and all intelligence, you just see, again go back to Mithya and Satya. Okay. What depends upon what? In order for my little intelligence to exist, I need awareness. Without awareness, there is no intelligence. Now, you magnify that intelligence to all intelligence.
So you need the awareness.
You need the awareness. Without awareness, there is no possibility of little intelligence or all intelligence.
So Ishvara wouldn't exist without you.
Exactly.
The last.
In the final analysis. Or you can say the truth of Ishvara is the same as your truth.
Yeah.
That is a better way of
Better
saying
way.
it.
Yeah, that is a correct way.
That's a correct way of
Correct way.
saying it, right? Because even
Yeah.
that all intelligence,
Yeah.
right, itself is mithya. It depends upon awareness
Yeah.
for its existence. Because without awareness, can you think of intelligence? Whether it is little intelligence or it is all intelligence. Okay? But does awareness depend upon intelligence? No.
So awareness is again
So-
seeing the working of all this.
Yes.
All intelligence. It is not got any of the attributes of what intelligence, like she's saying, that is where the Maya Shakti comes in, I think. Or what it is manifesting. But it is again an observer, not dependent on that.
Excellent. Right?
Now,
Now, what we are saying is something which is very, very important, right? We are not making the entire Ishvara into mithya. Please understand. Right? Wherever there is mithya, there is what? Satya. Because by very definition, mithya depends upon Satya for its existence. Right? So that means Ishvara's truth, the ultimate truth of Ishvara is what? Same, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. Because even for little intelligence to be, there is awareness which is required. Okay. So therefore, there is a complete equation. Tat Tvam Asi. There is a first direct meaning, which is what we call Vachyartha. The direct meaning of Tvam is what? Me, the little individual, with my physical body, subtle body, and my causal body. What does Vedanta show me? This is the immediate meaning, but there is a Lakshyartha. What it wants to show you is, who are you? Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Right? Then, when you look at the other side of the equation, what do you see? All knowledge and all power. And what is the truth of that all knowledge and all power? The same as Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Okay? That is the ultimate truth. Okay? How do I understand this equation with a very simple example? Very simple example is that of wave. Wave is equivalent to what? All of us individuals. Okay? Each one of us individual is contained within what? One entity called ocean. What is ocean equivalent to? Ishvara. Ishvara includes all forms. Right? All the physical forms, all the subtle forms, all the causal forms. Now if the wave asks exactly what is my nature, what will the wave find? Water. Right? Because the wave is nothing but water. When I look into my reality, what will I find? Awareness. Right? Now, if I examine into the truth of the whole ocean, which is much bigger than any given wave, what will I find? The truth of the ocean, if you just look at the ocean, what is the truth of the ocean? Water. Right? In terms of form, there is a big difference. Wave is one little entity. Ocean is what? Vast. It's big. If I put my eye in this individuality, then Ishvara is what? very vast, right? Because it includes all the physical universe, all the causal, all the subtle. It is vast. But if I begin to look into the truth of this individuality, just as the wave begins to look at the truth of that waveness, finds what? Water. And the wave looks at this vast entity which contains all the waves of the past, present, future, everything, and looks at the truth of that ocean. What does it find? Water. Water, being both ocean and wave itself, is free from being both. It is just H2O. But from the standpoint of the form, there are different forms. Each wave is different from another wave. And the form, ocean, is different from waveform. Nobody is denying it. But in terms of content, what is that? Only water. If you count water, all that is here is water. Appearing as ocean on one hand and appearing as wave on the other hand. This is what we call Advaita Vedanta. It doesn't deny existence of many different forms. It does not deny the existence of ocean, which contains what? The Ishvara, which contains all the forms. What it says is, right, all this is there till you inquire into the truth of God. When you inquire into the truth, you find only one reality, which is free from both. Non-duality.
Advaita is non-duality.
Non-duality. Because in fact, if you look at water, how many entities are there? If you look at waves, how many waves are there? Countless. But if you look at water, how many? You find only one. And you look at the ocean and wave, how many entities are there? Still only one. Okay. So the whole truth of the universe resolves in that equation. So what Ishvara in Bhagavad Gita, what Lord Krishna teaches Arjuna is, between you and me, there is really no difference. In terms of form, there is a difference, like between wave and ocean. But in terms of the content, in terms of the truth, we are the same. So this is what he says. If you go step by step into inquiry into the nature of Ishvara, where do you end up? You end up with what? You share the same truth with Ishvara. Okay? So this is where the inquiry ends. Now you don't go any further. You can't go any further.
One more question, let's see.
Yes.
So that will be very, I'll ask you that.
Okay. Right? So now these two verses we have completed. Now there is this whole I have already said.
I also have to write.
So now there is a reiteration of the same reality, and there is this whole change of topic that we will see next time.
We need one more session on this.
Yeah.
Many more sections on this.
Now, but this will keep coming.
Yeah.
So when we look at Upanishad, when we do any Upanishad, it all comes up. It keeps coming again, and then it becomes so much more clearer every time, right? So it is overwhelming because it's the whole way of thinking is so different. So it takes time. But I already see that first time and second time is a difference,
Oh
right?
yes, of course.
So I think some of you are hearing it for the first time, some of you have heard it many times before. So it's much more, right? I mean, Neeru, is it not much easier?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
My problem is
No, but you understand, right? I mean, in terms of...
I understand that.
No, you know it is articulating is a thing. It's not that you don't know.
I understand it, and but
articulating is a big problem.
and I don't know which point where.
Yeah, because
which point, which explanation.
Yeah,
It's not easy. But that's why I try to involve you all and ask you questions, because the more you learn to articulate, the more
It will clear.
it will clear. And this is why teaching is the biggest thing, that you in your clarity, because you have to